Hi Blue Jeff viewers and readers, Jevin here. Let's talk about the future resolution format that is widely said is going to be the successor of HD 1080p 4K resolution. But before we go into that, let's clear up a bit of confusion here. There are two kinds of 4K image. One is 3840 by 2160 pixels that is called Ultra HD or UHDTV, which is exactly twice the dimension of our 1080p standard 1920 by 1080. And there is another resolution called 4096 by 2160, which is 4K projection for cinema. For the most part, I will be talking about the 4K resolution, which is called the Ultra HD, the UHD TV. If I'm referring to the cinema format in this video, it will be the 4K projection for cinema, which is the 4096 by 2160 format. So what I'm going to cover in this video is mainly what can 4K mean for you, the consumer. Is 4K going to become mainstream for film and gaming? First of all, let's talk about the idea of resolution itself. The effectiveness of resolution is very dependent on screen size, pixel density, and the viewing distance from the screen. The easiest way to explain this theory of this need for more resolution is this way. The more the image fills your eye's vision, the larger the image appears to the eye, and therefore the more pixels you need to perceive the image as natural. To make the image appear large to the eye, you either make the screen really big or you move the screen closer to the eye. So let's take a look at a few examples. The first example will be the IMAX theater screens. IMAX theater screens are designed to feel big to the audience by making the screen fill your field of view as much as possible. So although you're viewing the screen at a distance, they compensate by making the screen really large and fill as much of your eye vision as much as possible. Therefore, a cinematic experience like this requires a much higher resolution than normal 2K or 35mm film in order for the image to appear natural or not blurry to the eye. This is why IMAX, or what I would like to call true IMAX, use 70mm film because it is a very large film frame that provides enough detail for that giant screen, something that the current digital IMAX, or what I would like to call fake IMAX, doesn't even come close to matching at the moment because they are currently still just using dual 2K projectors. Two 2K projectors projecting the same image one over the other is still no substitute for an actual 4K projector. Let's talk about another example. PC gaming. We know in the world of PC gaming that the PC is currently the most powerful gaming platform with computing horsepower that exceeds even the next generation consoles like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. It is also common knowledge that a high-end PC can crank games up at a much higher resolution than the console counterparts. As we know today, a lot of PC gamers view their monitors closer to the screen than console players because, like for a game genre like first-person shooters, they are using the mouse and keyboard setup and they tend to lean forward to the screen when they play. Although there are some, like myself, who still play first-person shooters with a gamepad on a PC. Gamers who play with a gamepad tend to prefer to lean back on their couch and look at the screen at a distance. And this is definitely the case for a large majority of console players. So as you can see, PC gamers do benefit from higher resolutions. Not just because the hardware is capable of running the game at a higher resolution than the console versions, but because the PC gamers are viewing the games closer to the screen than console players. So they do need an extra resolution for better sharpness. Besides, PC gamers can use the extra sharpness to spot enemies better when they play their FPS. Now me, as someone coming from a film background and relatively new to the gaming scene, I find it ironic that PC gamers typically run their games at a higher resolution than the console players, and yet somehow the physical size of their monitors are usually much smaller than the large TV sets that console players usually use to play their console games. I thought that the concept of having a larger television is to make the image appear bigger to the viewer and fill their eye vision more, or their field of view more, and yet console players view their games further away from the TV than PC gamers who view their games up close and personal on their small monitors. I find this weird because in film and video, we associate larger resolutions with larger screens, but it seems the exact opposite with gaming. Weird, isn't it? Maybe it's just me who is not used to the norms yet. Anyway, you can call me unorthodox, but as a home theater buff, the way I like to play my games is on my high-end PC, running my home theater setup with a large theater-like screen and a great surround sound system. That's how I would like to play my games. I usually like to play video games in the same cinematic, movie-like theater setup as the one that I use to watch my Blu-ray movies. And the fact is, not many gamers actually play the games like this. I am probably one of the weird one who does so, but oh man, I tell you, when you play these games in this home theater setup like that, it can be pretty awesome. Anyway, there is no doubt that 4K resolution will definitely be beneficial for movie theaters, especially those with really large screen like the IMAX format. But the question remains, will 4K be adopted as a mainstream format for home consumers? That's where it gets a little bit more debatable actually. First, as I mentioned earlier, the benefits of high resolution formats can only be seen as the screen appears bigger to the viewer. You can't really see the benefits of very high resolution if your screen size is going to be the size of your iPad or your iPhone. I think the maximum resolution I can see on my phone is say only 720p at max. Furthermore, the true fact is once any screen is viewed at a significant distance from the viewer, even a standard definition image or SD image will look sharp. Take a look at this chart from cartonbill.com. According to this, the optimal distance to see the full benefits of a 1080p image from say a 42-inch TV like mine would be about 6 feet. To compare in my actual home theater setup, my current normal viewing distance would be about 10 feet. With this distance from my TV, I can only see the slight benefits of a 720p image. Do you know what size does my 4K TV has to be in order to just start seeing the benefits of 4K at that distance? At least 86 inches or more. Optimal will be something like 150 inches, which is off this chart. Where the hell are you going to get a 150-inch TV? The largest TV I've ever seen in my life is a 110-inch one, and that TV was a 1080p TV and it cost more than 100,000 at the time in 2007. Similar analogy, isn't it? Like a 1080p TV costs that much in 2007, but today is pretty affordable. So I guess 4K will get pretty much more affordable down the road. Now let's take a look at my PC setup. I am viewing my 24-inch monitor at a distance of about 2 feet and 5 inches. This is actually good enough to enjoy a 1080p image. At this distance, the optimum size of my 4K monitor to enjoy the full benefits of 4K would be about 35 inches or more. So to conclude my first point, resolution sharpness will only benefit as the screen gets larger or as the viewer moves closer to the screen. Secondly, right now, maybe you spend more than, say, $10,000 on a 4K TV, but where the hell are you going to find 4K content to watch on it now? A new resolution format demands a newer workflow in terms of film production, which means there's very little native 4K content for consumers to actually see right now. I came across this video of a talk by this filmmaking lecturer called Larry Jordan, and he gave an inside look at the significant workflow changes to a film production if a filmmaker decides to migrate to an entire 4K workflow. If you are a filmmaker considering making a film in 4K, I highly recommend you take a look at this full video of his lecture for yourself. The link will be in the description below. He can definitely explain the detailed intricacies of 4K production better than I can. But for here, I'll just try and summarize it and make it easier for you, the consumer, to understand.
This is important. I want to show you on a pixel perfect, one-for-one basis, a full Ultra HD image. There it is. Is that not glorious? Look at the incredible detail inside that picture. It brings tears to my eyes just looking at it on the screen. Except, this is the actual 4K picture. I'm running this on a 1280 by 720 screen, and all I can fit on that screen is that much of the image. In fact, the white box indicates that part of a 4K image that I can show pixel accurately on this screen. So why did I shoot 4K in the first place? You can't see it! Sorry, I get a little overwrought.
Basically what it's saying is that to work in 4K, you need to relook your entire production workflow from shooting to editing to distribution. A lot of movies now are currently shot in 4K or 5K cameras with cameras like the Red 1 and the Red Epic cameras. The Hobbit movies are shot in Red Epic, which captures 5K. However, the digital intermediate that these movies are currently edited with is still in standard 2K. So in the end, when they distribute the digital cinema package or the DCP, the format will still be 2K, isn't it? Larry also mentioned that a full-on 4K workflow has steep system requirements. For instance, to play back uncompressed 4K video, you need a bitrate of at least 500 MB per second. That's right, not megabit, but megabyte per second. And just a reminder, 1 byte consists of 8 bits. Our single internal hard drive right now in your PC, I'm not talking about SSDs, I'm talking about the mechanical hard drives, has probably an average data rate of about 120 megabyte per second, or about 1 gigabit per second, which means you need at least 6 hard drives reading simultaneously in order to play back an uncompressed 4K video. So you can already get an idea of the steep system requirements to be able to shoot, edit, and distribute 4K film. And speaking of hardware requirements, how about running your PC games in 4K? Current PC gamers are already struggling to run their high games in 1080p with all these settings cranked up. Even the PlayStation 4 does not allow games to run in 4K, which gives you the idea of the high system requirements to run games in 4K. At least the Xbox One doesn't have that limit on developers, which is weird since the Xbox One, as you know, generally has a weaker hardware than the PS4. By the way, I just learned about this that our current HDMI standards can only deliver 4K at 30Hz because of the bandwidth limit. Right now, to display 4K at the standard 60Hz, you need at least 2 HDMI cables. This is another technological hurdle that we may be able to overcome in the future with newer connection standards. And don't forget older films which were only mastered in 2K. How would these films benefit from 4K if the original master was only 2K? By simply upscaling to 4K? Then 4K is not really much of a benefit for those older films other than to artificially increase the resolution from a low resolution master, isn't it? Let's take a look like the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was only mastered in a 2K digital intermediate from the film scans. How about older films that were just starting to shoot in high def like Star Wars Episode 3? The highest quality master you can get from that movie is a 1080p master. So how are these 2K digital intermediates going to benefit from 4K? It's like shooting an older film in digital standard def, which means that the standard def master is the highest quality master you've got. So when you're asked to release a Blu-ray version of it, you simply take that standard def master and you upscale it to make it so-called HD. Don't you see how ridiculous this sounds? It's still not true HD. The audience are not stupid. At the right distance and a large screen, you can definitely tell if a movie is natively HD or if it's upscaled. This is a similar analogy about taking the 2K master and upscaling to 4K. It's still a 2K image and you definitely look worse compared to native 4K content. At least with film, you can rescan the film in 4K and create a new master, and let's face it, a lot of filmmakers know that 35mm film has much better resolution than 2K, at least when it's fresh out of the canister without all the scratches and dust. But with digital, it is already defined by the pixels that 2K has less resolution than 4K, which means that the 2K image will look pixelated when it's projected in 4K. Larry also pointed out that shooting movies at a higher frame rate will provide a sharper image at a lesser cost. And that is true, a higher frame rate will mean a faster shutter speed for the camera, which results in less motion blur, therefore a sharper image. If you saw the Hobbit movies in 48 frames per second, then you would probably know what I mean. And with this, I'm kind of reluctant to say it right now, but I think the next revolution in videos would be higher frame rates. I saw The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug in 48 frames per second last year, and yes, the image does look sharper, and you don't need a larger screen to tell the difference in sharpness. But it does so at the expense of showing more flaws in the makeup and visual effects. But after much analogy, maybe this just means that our visual effects and makeup technology is not ready for us to shoot at high frame rates yet, but I'm sure this will evolve over time. So, in conclusion, what do I think of 4K? I certainly think that 4K is great for theatrical distribution and projection. I would certainly like to see IMAX deploy their new laser 4K projectors as soon as possible, because my experience with watching Gravity in digital IMAX was slightly marred by a less than ideal 2K projection. Will it be great for the home? Only for the high-end home theater geeks like myself, or PC gamers who want to melt their insane PC rigs to run their games beyond 1080p. But if 4K were to become the norm for the home, I guess TV sizes should or will generally get bigger, because there really is no point in watching such a high-res video on a small screen, right? And I personally actually like to see that trend happen, to bring higher quality movie experiences to more home users. Then again, I think 4K will probably be the highest resolution the home viewer will ever need. It's the max, I think, because let's face it, although I personally would like to have a TV screen that can fill the wall from the ceiling to the floor in order to experience the full clarity of 4K, Not everyone is going to have a TV screen of that size. I'm also thinking of a future possibility of 4K content and normal 1080p content coexisting together. 4K would appeal to the very high-end users that would want that total large screen immersion, while normal TV users can still enjoy regular 1080p content on their normal size TVs. It's like watching a movie in regular cinemas versus watching a movie in IMAX. There will be people who want that giant IMAX screen experience, and there will be people who are just content watching it in a regular movie theater. In this situation, it doesn't seem like IMAX is taking over normal cinemas or things like that. It's just that moviegoers have more options on how they want to watch their movie. And we must also remember that some movies are simply not suited for the large screen format like IMAX or 4K resolution. Is it a necessity to watch a drama like The Shawshank Redemption in IMAX? Let me leave you with this quote from Larry.
If we take a look at the actual screen size, this is what we all grew up watching. Seems hardly worth it, doesn't it? Seems like we should never even turn the TV on, because why would you watch a picture that's the size of a postage stamp? The fact that it would make you feel good and make you laugh or make you cry is irrelevant. The resolution's too small. No one really watches pictures that are that small anymore.
So those are my thoughts on the 4K resolution for now. In short, great for cinema, maybe not so practical for home. Thanks for watching.